Okay, now we're getting a little more interesting. We're multiplying radicals here on number 13. Square root of x times quantity in parentheses, square root of x plus square root of y. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is distribute. So square root of x times square root of x, and then the square root of x on the outside times the plus square root of y, which is plus square root of x times square root of y. Well, square root of x times square root of x, the squaring of it undoes the square. We just end up with x. We add square root of x times square root of y. Our exponent laws allow us to combine the values in the radicals whenever they're multiplied or divided. So that becomes square root under one radical, x times y. The correct answer for 13 is A, x plus square root of xy. How about number 14? Joe is asked to memorize 200 vocabulary words and assesses his memorization. The words over 3 days. On day 1, he remembered all 200 words. On each of the next 2 days, he remembered 10% fewer words than he did the preceding day. So it was 200 on day 1. Day 2 was 10% less. So that would be minus 10% of 200, which is 20. So that's 180. And then on day 3, it would be minus 10% of 180, which is minus 18. 180 minus 118 minus 18 gives you 162. Question is asking, how many words did Joe remember on day 3? He remembered 162. The correct answer for 14 is B. Notice this is a compounding problem. The percentage change is based on the previous term, not the original 200. Very typical on the exam. Okay, number 15. This looks a little more interesting. Looking at this equation with x's and y's, two variables with each of them squared, and then individual x terms, y terms, I can see this is the long form of a circle equation. And they basically tell us that's the case. It is a circle, and what they want to know is what the radius of the circle is. So I want to convert my long form to my standard circle form, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, where hk is the center of the circle, and that equals the radius squared. So it's the radius that I want to solve for, basically. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to complete the squares on the x's and then complete the squares on the y's. X squared minus 16x. Well, I know half the coefficient of x is minus 8, so that's going to be my perfect square, x minus 8 squared. And I need to add the square of that minus 8, 64, to make that a perfect square in the x's, right? And y squared minus 4y. Well, I want to half the coefficient of y again. That's going to be y minus 2. It's going to be my perfect square on the left side. So the 32 on the left side, I would have subtracted 32 from both sides to then get negative 32 on the right side. So it will be effectively like that. Those cancel, and I get 0 minus 32, or negative 32 on the right side. But I'm adding to that the minus 8 squared, 64, because if I add it to the left side, I need to do so to the right side. And the minus 2 squared, the plus 4, again, I added to the left side, I need to add it to the right side. So my new right side becomes minus 32 plus 64, which is 32, plus 4 is 36. So we know our r squared, the right side of the equation, equals 36. Which means r equals the square root of 36, or 6. The correct answer for the radius of the circle is B, 6.